I hope everybody signs up to Playbook. We can't wait to see you on the platform. And hopefully you can all raise and all become investors and all become decision makers and change the world and make it a better place.
Hello everyone and welcome to the very first episode of Scale Up, which is Kawa's first podcast and the first of many, we hope. In every episode of Scale Up, we will be meeting with some of the most successful entrepreneurs in the Arab world. We will find out all there is to know about their solutions, markets, and of course, their tips and tricks on how to become more successful. Our first guide into this journey is Wafa Al-Obaidat. She's a fantastic Bahraini entrepreneur and the founder of Playbook.
I'm really excited to be here on this podcast. My name is Wafa Al-Obaidat. I'm a Bahraini entrepreneur. The last 12 years ago, I spent starting and scaling a communications agency, first from London and then here from the region, from the Gulf. And that was my crash course in starting a business. I had $0 in my account and I built my company into a multi-million-dollar firm. And my father really wanted me to go into the banking and finance sector. So I really had to fight hard for my dream and to be independent and to run my own organization. I had to literally figure out everything myself, everything from how to barter deal my way into the things that I needed, how to influence people to convince them to believe in me and my vision, and to acquire clients. It's really true when they say that when you're a first-time founder and a solopreneur as well, that you are the chief everything officer. So I used to do everything, and as I continued to scale, I paid myself last to make sure that I could take care of my team and the rent. Many years later, I had a huge career pivot when I attended the World Economic Forum. I discovered what gender and diversity and inclusion was. I was pretty ignorant about the data. Two facts really struck home with me and caused me to pivot careers into the space of technology, media, and working with women. And it was the first one is it's going to take 257 years to close the gender gap globally. And the second thing is MENA ranks 8 out of 10 of the areas with the biggest gap. So I decided to come back home and create a series of offline events, or we call them summits, where I found with my team 300 women leaders to deliver live masterclasses to 6,000 people. And it was sort of like our MVP. I was experimenting and exploring to see what we could achieve in that time. And we tested that offline. We did that for about 3 years. And then we pivoted into a digital platform called Playbook.
Right. So what originated the creation of Playbook, and also which stage is the company at now?
Playbook, which is my focus right now, is a tech company that's part masterclass, part professional network for leading women in the region. We've raised a $700,000 pre-seed round, and that's the stage of the business that we're in. So super early stage growth. I think when we did our offline events, there was a couple of things that I know for sure. Taking 9 months to plan a 2-day event and then having it completely disappear. So the connections that were made, the content that was delivered vanished out of the event. It was not sustainable. It was hard to measure. So I knew that I wanted to recreate something more sustainable, and I wanted to take the two biggest added value components of our offline experience, which was the masterclasses and the content delivery, as well as the community, which is what was happening on the event floor. So the connections, the job opportunities that were provided, the mentorship opportunities, and digitize it. So, and that way we can also reach a larger number of women from around the world and help them resolve the challenges that they are facing in their careers. So Playbook came as a result of us testing our idea offline, seeing that there was an appetite and there was traction and there was revenue, and then pivoting that into an online technology that offered those experiences on scale.
So who do you cater to, and what's your business model?
So Playbook today, to access Playbook, you pay $180 a year. That gives you unlimited access to all the master classes as well as access to the community. So it's an all-inclusive platform, and usually with companies at our stage, they would charge $90 maybe, or charge per course or per masterclass. But for us, it was so important that we recognize that women's daily challenges in the workplace cannot be resolved by just one class. They need to be able to access multiple masterclasses around both soft and technical skills provided by women leaders. So it really was redundant and makes no sense for someone to attend one class. And maybe that doesn't necessarily resolve the problem that they're having. So it was always important to me to give unlimited access to all our members. We're going to be changing our price soon when we roll out our application, but as of now, it's $180 per year. So it's a membership-based platform. We also target companies, HR managers, diversity and inclusion officers, and sometimes CEOs and founders to onboard their employees on Playbook. We're really targeting corporate professionals, female founders, as well as students. The community works like a professional network. I would say it's a hybrid maybe of like a Facebook and or a LinkedIn, but it's a place where people can connect. So even more than comparing it to anything else, we want women to take the conversation forward after learning from the classes. And that's always been my biggest challenge with EdTech is it's always one-sided. You watch or listen to something, and then where do you go to hang out with people? Where do you go to connect with other users? Where do you go to maybe even have access to the course masters to book a mentorship session? So some of the features on our community is, one, you get access to the masters and you get access to mentors and coaches. So you can watch a class or you can book a session with an expert, and the experts are picked and chosen based on the pain points that women feel and have. The second thing is there's access to a job board. So job opportunities are available there, especially for women who want to get back into the workforce. They want hybrid, between offline and online. They want to be able to work from home. They want to work part-time. So it's definitely positioned to target and find female talent. And then there's also connections. So you can travel to different countries and connect with different members through the platform, but also just, connect with members in general.
Now, I have never met an entrepreneur who doesn't say they've come across massive amounts of obstacles. What were your obstacles and how did you overcome them?
2% of VC funding gets allocated to women. This is a global statistic. And I think the biggest challenge that we faced, and I can talk about my experience, is the fundraising aspect. I'm quite lucky, and I don't want to say luck, but I have great access to network. I worked in PR and communications. My co-founders are really well networked. Ismahan, my co-founder, is an ex-banker. She has an incredible access to network. So fundraising, we had a great fundraising story. We had an oversubscribed round, but to get to that, we had to meet probably double or triple the amount of investors that maybe our counterpart gender would have to do or get. So we have more stories on failure and more stories being rejected and more experiences with male investors who might not get the pain point of what we're trying to do, and because of that have no empathy towards the problem we're trying to solve. And that's fair enough. But I think the conclusion is we just have to, instead of meeting 20 investors and one says yes, we might have to be meeting 30 or 40. But that's really forced us to make sure that we always have a huge pipeline of potential investors. We don't take for granted the ones that do say yes. We actually have great investors who believe in us. They access their own network. They are a great sounding board. They add so much value, and they really are in it for the long run, and they believe in the mission of the company. So I think that was one of the challenges that we face. I think the second challenge is talent and recruitment. And sure, getting that pre-seed round in was very exciting. And then it was, okay, great, now we can hire. But finding the right people that really understand what startup culture is about and can be molded to run with the company. Sometimes you might not have an office ready or have enough chairs or have enough computers, but really to find the right people who embrace startup culture, who run in the direction where the company is going, who don't get frustrated if there is a change in plan or a change of direction. Is really key. So recruiting the right people has definitely been a challenge. We maybe could have recruited much earlier, but we were very specific about onboarding the right team members. And I would say the third challenge is definitely work-life balance. I'm a mother of a toddler, and I want to work from home. But also there's just this incredible guilt that, a mom feels if she's working and not with her children, or she's with her children but her mind is somewhere else, or she feels like she's, or I mean, I'm talking from my experience, but I feel like maybe I can be doing more when it comes to delivering on the company's metrics or KPIs, or just doing more in general. So the third challenge is just the emotional guilt that maybe a mother would feel, which has been a challenge for me personally.
And how would you say you find balance in your life?
Again, I think it really helps to have co-founders. I've never built a business with partners, so it's absolutely incredible to have someone to lean on, someone that you can be vulnerable with, someone you can ask for help with. I've had an issue where my son just wasn't feeling well, so my co-founders would say, listen, we've got this, don't worry. And they tell the team, listen, like, everybody give Wafa some space, like, so she can focus on her family right now. So I think my co-founders are amazing. I sometimes call them and I feel really bad, maybe because I wasn't able to work as much as I wanted to that specific week or that day. And they're really great with reassurance and just making you feel safe and comfortable. I think it also helps because not everything is on me. Like, I'm not the only one expected to bring in the investment and the results. So I share that responsibility with my co-founder. So I know that if this week I don't close a big deal, which hasn't happened so far, but she'll do it and vice versa. So we're able to get in a lot more results because there's two of us doing it. So just reminding myself that I'm not alone is key. I think I'm a big believer that if you have stress or if you are trying to do a lot, working out is so essential for my mental health. I do a swim or a run every day after I drop my son to school. Today I didn't get a chance to do it and I already feel really like frustrated and agitated, because as soon as I get like that nice cardio session in the morning, I feel great the whole day. I feel very like light and cool, and in this part of the world it's really hot, so just movement in the morning, a nice cold shower, and you're really set for the day. That's essential for me to function. I'm a big believer in journaling. I don't get time to do it every day like I used to, but journaling a few pages a day, I highly recommend the book, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I'm such a subscriber to writing down, using your hand, doing freehand writing, filling in 3 pages a day, no matter what. She suggests you do it the first thing in the morning. I try to get it done sometime during the day, but freehand journaling and just really understanding where your headspace is at, your thoughts, and just getting everything on paper creates a lot of clarity. And just being a continuous learner, I try to read 10 pages a day. I listen to my Audible and my audiobooks through Audible as well. So, and meditation. So I try to do a little bit of those things when I can. On the good days, I can squeeze in 3 minutes of meditation, 3 pages of journaling, and 10 pages of reading. And that's literally all I need to give me just, a lot of joy and happiness before I start my day. And some days I'll just squeeze in a meditation if I have the time. But yeah, my wellness ritual is really also essential to maintaining my mental health.
Wow. With this much on your schedule, how do you manage your time?
Sure. So I use an application called the Productive app. It's been really helpful because I write down the things that I need to do and then I tick them off, but it really gamifies my to-do list. So it'll tell me, Wafa, you're on a 50-day streak with your meditation, keep it up. So I like seeing that I'm doing continuous or reaching continuous goals. I like ticking things off. It makes a little sound. I get badges and stuff. It just gamifies getting things done regularly. And it also, I can set things to be a continuous habit and things to be a short-term habit. So every day it'll pop up and I'll just kind of cross things off the list. Sometimes I'm confused about what I have to do next, so I'll go onto the app. That's one thing. I think it sounds like I do a lot, but I do a couple of things sometimes at the same time. So when you're driving, I listen to the recording. When I'm driving, I take my calls. Sometimes I do walk and talks with friends. So I do social activities with my friends, so I get to see them. Even when I work out, I'm listening to something that I have to listen to for work. For example, if I'm doing a run, I'll listen to something that's kind of work related. So I don't know, I try to mix things up as much as possible. I also have the luxury of having a team. So I think when you have a team and you have support and I have a dedicated project manager to work with me on all my personal projects as well, like personal for Playbook, and to support me and writing my emails and sending things out. So I get a lot of help. I also get a lot of help at home with my mother. She lives like 10 minutes away. So she's, supportive. My husband's supportive as well. So it seems sometimes like I do everything, but I think I have help. I ask for help. And I'm very focused that at the end of the day, I don't care what I need to do, but like I will focus on a couple of things that need to get done for the day. And then from a personal perspective, I'll try to get in a workout, and if I'm lucky, a couple of other things. So it sounds like I'm super organized, but I'm more focused and more, and also I don't have literally I don't have a social life. I'm in bed by 8 or 9 p.m. So I'm up at 6 a.m. So that's also where I'm really good with the work thing now, and I'm really good with the school drop-off thing and being a present mother. But it's the nightlife has just stopped completely, other than maybe once a week or over the weekend, I guess. But I'm just highly productive and very focused.
Do you have any role models?
I mean, everyone you see on Playbook today is a role model. I can't believe that we actually have master classes with some of the most influential, successful, some of the wealthiest women in the region. We have family board members, women CEOs of institutions, C-level position, women with experience and great storytelling, former ministers, celebrities. So everyone on Playbook today is a role model, and we reached out to them because they are our role models and we feel that they have something to teach. And you would never find this type of content anywhere else. It's so curated for this part of the world, and for Arabs and for people who want to do business in this part of the world. So this is not something you would find on a Coursera. This is not something you would find in an academy, in a traditional institution. This is content that is designed to help you succeed. This is not theory-based content that is honestly and truthfully sometimes useless. This is practical, tactical storytelling solutions and experiences and failures that you could learn from and adapt into your career today. So that's what makes Playbook so powerful, because we think that school and university doesn't prepare us for the real world at all. When we cross over, we know the rules in school, right? Like, go to class, study, get good grades, do your exams, show up every day. But then what are the rules what is the playbook for career progression? No one tells you how to progress. Everything that you need to be able to progress, you have to learn on the job very slowly. So it's extremely painful to just figure out what you want to do and be good at it, when what we want to do is save people time, money, and energy so they can thrive in their careers.
How would you say Playbook is specifically created for a Middle Eastern audience?
We have members from our community that are from around the world that are also finding the sessions useful. But I think we live in a very specific type of culture. Doing business in the region is very different than doing business anywhere else in the world. And I'm sure it's the same for different parts of the world. And what we're focusing on here is the cultural and societal challenges that we face that nobody speaks about. But also there's a lot of universal pain points. So I would say each class has a hybrid of stuff that's localized, like how to navigate a boardroom for women, right? So globally, 15% of board positions are given to women. I think it's even less for this part of the world. But how to navigate those spaces, and also thinking of our culture, things that we practice on a daily basis, and how do you overcome some of those challenges that nobody talks about. For example, here, if your father has a family business, and he passes away, the men get double the amount of wealth that the women get. So the son would get more than the daughter. So one of our modules and one of our chapters is how, as a woman, if you want to stay in the family business, how do you protect yourself? How do you lawyer up? How do you get access to those additional shares? How do you get a leadership position in the company? Also, a lot of the private sector here in this part of the world is around family business. So succession planning, dealing with family dynamics, especially between brothers and sisters. How does that work? And then cousins later on if it's a bigger family business. Usually you find a super entrepreneurial grandfather who passes things on to his kids and then his kids' kids. So how do you manage that space? How do you manage that? How do you navigate through succession planning? How do you create an exit plan? How do you integrate your children into the family business? So it's a lot of things that are, it's a lot of the case studies we have are based around things that happen in this part of the world and how women have overcome them or have found solutions for them.
As I'm sure you know, us Westerners are fed a lot of cliché regarding social conditions in the Middle East, especially when it comes to men and women. Now, as a woman doing what you do, did you face a lot of adversity?
Not at all. Actually, I feel pretty much my whole career, I've had male clients, my majority is male clients, male investors, we've had male advisors. We have male members on Playbook. We have an Ally for Change scheme. So we have men who've signed up to that. One of our biggest investors has said that I'm doing this for my daughter. I want her to live in a more equitable world. So he's investing and putting the shares in her name. So on the contrary, I find that men are very supportive in my experience. And if they're not, and the occasion that they're not, then they're not our specific type of customer or client or stakeholder. And that's totally okay. I mean, we're not trying to shove Playbook down everybody's throats. We're trying to find like-minded people who really believe in what we're doing, who actually feel the pain point of what we're doing, and onboard them onto the platform and provide the solutions that they need.
You mentioned that only 2% of VC funding goes towards women-led companies. Why do you think that is, and how can it be changed?
Very good question. I think that a lot of spaces where decisions are being made and where there's authority to sign money over is usually, it's a space that has always been handled by men. And my biggest challenge with investors that we meet is if it's usually a male-dominated space in the investment space, if you're presenting something to them and you're like, this is a real pain point for women or mothers, or whatever, like something that they really can't connect with, they can't invest in something that they don't believe in or something that they don't have empathy for. That's why it's so important to have female investors, because I think people can miss out on such incredible business opportunities simply because they don't get the pain point of what's being delivered. So if I'm like, listen, this is a real pain point for women, a man will be like, sorry, I don't understand, I don't get it. Like, do women really need this? And I don't get the pain point because I'm not going through it. So there's a reason why there's a lot of, money being put into fintech and not so much femtech. But yeah, like it's if the decision maker doesn't feel the pain point, how can he get behind something he doesn't get, right? So I think that's possibly where I see the biggest issue. And we need to train more women to invest. We need to have accelerators to get more female and angel investments and teach them how to do it. And with as little as $5,000, you can be an angel investor. And we have a whole masterclass about that because we need more women to want to have an appetite to invest and know it's possible to invest and demystify investment. And we also need more, female founders. We need to find them. We need to teach them how to raise money from investors. We need to teach them how to negotiate, how to give up a little bit of equity and control in order to accelerate their business. So I think there's a lot we can do in the ecosystem to get more, but the intention should be there. And I think if every company looks at their team members, if they're in the VC space, they should be thinking, okay, this is a skewed, if we have 80% male men on the investor committee, we could lose out on actual business opportunities because we don't have enough perspective or diversified thinking. So, diversity is really key in general, but I think even more so in the VC space.
Looking forward to the future, what are the next steps for Playbook?
So we're raising a seed round in the summer. And we are at 55% in soft commitments of our round, which is super exciting. And it's definitely growth and scale. Just having our own in-house production team is very key. Just really controlling the production process from A to Z, getting our application out and rolling that out. Doubling our number of master classes for next year. So we're on track to deliver 24 this year and then 48 next year. And just, customer acquisition. We need to make sure we have that gorgeous hockey stick, which we do so far. So making sure that we show growth month on month by at least 20 to 30%. So that's all I'm laser focused on right now. And obviously the big picture is the unicorn. You want to get to the $100 million a year in revenue.
Do you maybe have any advice for the young people who will listen to this?
Sure. So have bold vision. I think you shouldn't be afraid to dream. Not enough people invite us to dream and to think of the possibilities. And I think whatever you think and dream actually manifests. I'm a big believer that I had glimpses of what Playbook was going to be years ago. I had glimpses of what my agency was going to look like years ago, just like moments in my brain where I could imagine what the offices looked like and the teams and the headlines, and things started to really come together. And I started to, the more I crystallize those visions, the easier it was for me to build a roadmap to get there. And I think, just not being afraid to do those things are key. I think monetization is a huge obsession of mine. I love doing things, but then I will also want to make money out of them, because I feel that if I can make money from doing the things that I love, I can pay myself to continue to do it, and I can pay my team to continue to do it. And it's sustainable. It's sustainability, right? It's not, so just sure, like trying and testing and experimenting is great, but monetizing is proof and validation that something is working, and there's people are willing to pay for the value that you're providing them, whether it's a podcast or an agency or a service-based company or a technology company. So I'm a big believer in monetizing, and also that monetizing is not as hard as people think it is. Other companies have hacked how to monetize every type of business. All you have to do is find a similar company and, reverse engineer their playbook to how they've done it. So these are just maybe some of my tips and tricks. I hope everybody signs up to Playbook. We can't wait to see you on the platform. And hopefully you can all raise and all become investors and all become decision makers and change the world and make it a better place.
Making the world a better place by reducing gender gaps in the workplace, one course at a time, and teaching young girls how to be the best versions of themselves. Well, that about sums it up for this first episode of Scale Up. And until the next one, if you want to learn more about the Arab world, be sure to follow us. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, basically everywhere. Bye!